Hello everyone, wishing you a wonderful day. Today we're diving into a powerful story. When Tu Na is given the chance to step into a new life at Alex's company while little Henry faces his first days away at preschool. Will fear hold her back, or will she finally choose to change her future? If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next episode. The morning sun stretched gently across the farm, brushing everything in a soft golden glow. The air was calm, carrying the faint scent of cooked rice and fresh earth. Inside the small wooden house, Tu Na sat on a low stool, carefully blowing on a spoonful of porridge before feeding it to little Henry. "Slowly, okay? It's still hot," she whispered, her voice soft and patient. Henry opened his mouth obediently, his tiny hands gripping the edge of the bowl like it was something precious. A bit of porridge smeared on his cheek, and Tu Na smiled, wiping it gently with the corner of her sleeve. At that moment, the sound of footsteps approached from outside. Tu Na looked up just as Alex's mother stepped into the yard. For a brief second, Tu Na froze, not out of fear, but out of instinct. The older woman's presence still carried a certain weight, even now. But then Alex's mother smiled, her eyes landing on Henry first. "Oh my, look at you," she said warmly. "You're eating so well." Her tone wasn't sharp, not critical. It was gentle, almost affectionate. Tu Na stood up quickly, adjusting her shirt. "Auntie, you came." "I was passing by," Alex's mother replied, stepping inside slowly, her gaze moving around the house. "But I wanted to see how things are." She paused, taking in the farm outside, the repaired fence, the tidy yard, the neat stacks of cassava laid out to dry. "This place," she said quietly, almost to herself, "it's changed so much. It's beautiful now." Tu Na lowered her eyes slightly. "We just fixed what we could." Alex's mother nodded, then sat down on the wooden chair nearby. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small package. "I brought a little something," she said, placing it gently on the table. "For you, and for Henry." Tu Na hesitated. "You didn't have to. It's nothing big," the older woman interrupted softly. "Just something small. Don't refuse." Tu Na nodded, her fingers brushing the package like it carried more than just a gift. It carried acceptance. Henry, curious, looked at the new face and tilted his head. Alex's mother chuckled. "Do you remember me?" she asked, leaning closer. "When you grow up, you have to come visit me, all right?" Henry didn't understand, of course, but he smiled anyway. And somehow that was enough to melt the last bit of distance in the room. They sat together, the atmosphere slowly warming, like a fire catching after a long time. After a moment, Alex's mother turned her attention back to Tu Na. "So, have you thought about your future plans?" she asked gently. Alex mentioned, "Maybe you could come work at the company." Tu Na's fingers tightened slightly in her lap. I don't know if I can," she admitted honestly. "I didn't study much before. I'm used to working in the fields, harvesting, taking care of the farm, office work. I'm not confident." Her voice wasn't defensive, it was simply real. Alex's mother listened without interrupting, her expression thoughtful. "And Henry?" she asked softly. "I've arranged for Mrs. Tang to help watch him during the day," Tu Na replied. If I ever go to work." There was a pause. Then Alex's mother nodded slowly. "That's a careful plan," she said. "You've thought about it?" Tu Na looked up, surprised. "I thought you might not agree." Alex's mother shook her head gently. "Why wouldn't I? You're trying to balance everything, your child, your future, your responsibilities. That's not easy." Her gaze softened. "You're more capable than you think." Those words landed quietly, but they stayed. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Alex's mother glanced at the table and smiled faintly. "But don't rush yourself. A job can wait." health and peace. Those matter more right now. Tu Na nodded slowly, her chest feeling unexpectedly lighter. Stay for lunch, she offered softly. I'll cook something simple. Alex's mother hesitated, then shook her head. I wish I could, but I have another appointment. She stood up, smoothing her clothes. I just wanted to come by and see you both. There was something unspoken in her tone, something like reassurance, something like acceptance that didn't need to be declared loudly. She walked toward Henry and gently touched his head. Be good, she murmured. Grow strong. Then she turned to Tu Na. Take care of yourself, she added, her voice lower now. Don't carry everything alone. Tu Na nodded, her eyes soft. I will. The goodbye was simple, but warm, and as Alex's mother walked away, she glanced back once, just once, before continuing down the path. Later that afternoon, on the road leading back to the farm, Alex slowed his car when he noticed a familiar figure walking along the roadside, carrying a small basket. Mrs. Ly, he called out, rolling down the window. The woman turned, surprised, then her face lit up with recognition. Alex, she said, it's been so long. Where are you heading? He asked. Back home, she replied, just came from the market. Alex opened the passenger door. Get in, I'll give you a ride. And come visit the farm. You haven't seen it in a while. Mrs. Ly hesitated for a second, then smiled. All right. As the car moved, she looked out the window, her eyes reflecting memories. I used to work there every day, she said softly. I wonder how it looks now. Alex smiled slightly. You might not recognize it anymore. When they arrived, Mrs. Ly stepped out and stopped. Her eyes widened. This is the same place, she asked, almost in disbelief. The yard was clean, the house stood firm, the cassava field stretched neatly behind. It's changed. So much. Tu Na came out, holding Henry in her arms. For a brief moment, the two women stood facing each other. Then Mrs. Ly stepped forward, her expression turning serious. I owe you an apology, she said. Back then, I misunderstood you. I said things I shouldn't have. Tu Na shook her head gently. It's all right. That's in the past. But Mrs. Ly continued, her voice sincere. Still, I'm grateful. Alex helped me find stable work after that. And your mother. She spoke for me too. Tu Na smiled faintly. I'm glad things worked out. The tension dissolved. Just like that. They sat together, talking about the changes, about life, about the farm. Henry giggled as Mrs. Ly played with him for a moment, tapping his tiny hands. You've grown so much, she laughed. Tu Na brought out water, placing it in front of her guest. Drink, she said warmly. Time passed easily, like old wounds had quietly healed without anyone noticing. When evening began to settle, Alex spoke up. Stay for dinner, he offered, but Mrs. Ly shook her head. I can't. I still have things to take care of at home. She stood up, brushing her hands lightly. I'll come again another day. Alex nodded. I'll drive you back. She turned to Tu Na and Henry. Take care of your health, she reminded gently. Both of you. Tu Na smiled. We will. As Alex and Mrs. Ly left, the farm slowly returned to its quiet rhythm. Inside, Tu Na carried Henry to bed, laying him down carefully. She watched him for a moment, her hand resting lightly on his chest, feeling his steady breathing. Then she stepped outside again. The yard was calm. The cassava lay neatly arranged, waiting to dry further. Tu Na bent down, adjusting a few pieces, thinking ahead. This batch should be enough for the chickens in a few days, she murmured to herself. Simple thoughts, simple work, but her heart felt full. The day ended, not with noise, not with conflict, but with a quiet kind of connection. Between people, between past and present, between choices and acceptance. And somewhere in that quiet, something steady was beginning to form. A life not rushed, not forced, but built, piece by piece. Joan, too. The next morning didn't begin with noise. It began with a quiet kind of anticipation. A thin layer of mist still hovered over the cassava field, and the first light of day slipped gently across the farm. Tu Na woke earlier than usual, though she hadn't slept deeply. Something about yesterday, about Alex's mother visiting, about Mrs. Ly returning, about the conversations that felt both heavy and comforting, lingered in her mind. She stepped outside with a light shawl wrapped around her shoulders, breathing in the cool air. For a moment she simply stood there, listening. The soft rustle of leaves, the distant crow of a rooster, the quiet rhythm of a place that had slowly become her home. But today felt different, not heavier. Just like something was about to change. Inside, Henry stirred, letting out a small, sleepy sound. Tu Na turned immediately and walked back in, lifting him gently into her arms. "I'm here," she whispered, swaying slightly. "Mama's here." As she held him, her thoughts drifted back to what Alex's mother had said. "You're more capable than you think." It was such a simple sentence, but it stayed, and for the first time, Tu Na didn't immediately push the idea away. By mid-morning, the sound of a motorbike approached from the road. Tu Na stepped out just as Alex parked near the gate, taking off his helmet with a tired but warm smile. "You're home early," she said, surprised. "I wanted to talk to you," Alex replied, his tone calm but purposeful. Something in his voice made Tu Na's chest tighten slightly. "Is everything okay?" she asked. Alex nodded. "Yeah, nothing bad. Just something important." He stepped inside, glancing briefly at Henry, who was now playing with a small wooden toy on the floor. Alex crouched down, ruffling the boy's hair. "Hey, little guy." Henry laughed, reaching up clumsily. That small moment, simple, normal, seemed to steady Alex before he stood up again and turned to Tu Na. "Can we sit?" he asked. Tu Na nodded. They sat across from each other at the small wooden table, the same place where they had shared countless quiet meals and late-night conversations. But this time, the air felt more serious. Alex took a breath. "I've been thinking a lot," he began, "about the company, about you, about Henry." Tu Na listened silently, her fingers lightly gripping the edge of the table. "I don't want you to feel like you have to stay here just because it's safe," Alex continued, "and I don't want you to think you can't step into something bigger." Tu Na's eyes lowered slightly. "I told your mother yesterday. I'm not confident." "I know," Alex said gently, "and I understand why." He leaned forward slightly. "But confidence doesn't come first. It comes after you try." Tu Na didn't respond immediately. Alex continued, his voice steady but warm. "I want you to come work at the company," he said. "Not because you have to, not because of me, but because I think you deserve a chance to grow into something you haven't even seen yet." Tu Na's heart skipped. "Alex, I don't even know where to start," she admitted. "Office work, documents, meetings. I'm afraid I'll make mistakes. I don't want people to look at me and think I'm only there because of you." Alex smiled faintly. "People will always think something. You can't control that." He paused. "But you can control what you become." That sentence hung in the air. Tu Na looked at him, searching his face. "And Henry?" she asked quietly. Alex glanced at the boy, then back at her. "I've thought about that too," he said. "There's a good preschool near the company, safe, clean and close. He won't be far from us." Tu Na's expression shifted slightly. Uncertainty, hesitation, instinct. "He's still so small," she murmured. "I know," Alex said softly. "And this doesn't have to happen immediately. We can start slowly, maybe just a few hours a day." Let him adjust. Let you adjust. He leaned back slightly, giving her space. I'm not forcing anything, he added. I just don't want you to limit yourself because of fear. Silence followed. But it wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence where something real was being considered. Tuna looked at Henry again. He was laughing to himself, completely absorbed in his little world. For so long, her life had revolved around protecting him, surviving, holding things together. But now, was it time to build something more? I'm scared, she admitted softly. Alex nodded immediately. That's normal. What if I fail? She asked. Alex didn't hesitate. Then you fail, he said simply, and then you learn, and then you try again. Tuna blinked, slightly surprised. That's it? She asked. Alex smiled. That's it. For the first time, a small, uncertain smile appeared on her face too. Not because she was suddenly confident, but because she felt supported, truly supported. I'll think about it, she said quietly. Alex nodded. That's all I'm asking. That afternoon, they walked together around the farm, not talking much, just walking. Henry sat in Alex's arms for a while, then reached out toward Tuna, and she took him, holding him close. The three of them moved slowly along the edge of the cassava field, where the wind carried a soft, steady rhythm through the leaves. You know, Alex said after a while, when I first started building the company, I had no idea what I was doing. Tuna glanced at him. Really? Alex chuckled. I made mistakes all the time, lost money, chose the wrong people, trusted the wrong deals. And now? She asked. Now I just make better mistakes, he replied lightly. Tuna laughed softly. That laugh, small, genuine, felt like a turning point. Because fear was still there. But it wasn't the only thing there anymore. As the sun began to set, casting warm light across the farm, Tuna stood quietly near the fence, watching the sky change colors. Alex stood beside her. I won't rush you, he said. Tuna nodded. I know. She hesitated for a moment, then added, but maybe I don't want to stay the same forever either. Alex turned to look at her, and in her eyes he saw it. Not certainty, not confidence, but something just as powerful, willingness. And sometimes, that's where everything begins.